Right, this is a song based on a story from the village of Mumbles at the western end of Swansea Bay. If not a true story, it is at least a genuine legend, which is the next best thing. In the village of Mumbles at the end of the bay, they keep two fine horses, a brown and a grey. Oh, when the signal rings out, they are harnessed away to go down to the sea for the lifeboat. And the lifeboat crew's coxswain, he mentions with pride how the brown and the grey they would work side by side, by day or by night at high or low tide, to go down to the sea for the lifeboat, to go down to the sea for the lifeboat, to go down to the sea for the lifeboat, by day or by night at high or low tide, to go down to the sea for the lifeboat. Also in Mumbles there lives a proud man, with mutton chop whiskers and gloves on his hands. He makes a fine living from the dead of the land. In his sombre black hat and his frock coat, he's got two horses, they're regal and black. They stand in the traces with plumes on their backs. He takes many folks forward, brings none of them back. In his sombre black hat and his frock coat, in his sombre black hat and his frock coat, in his sombre black hat and his frock coat, he takes many folks forward, brings none of them back. In his sombre black hat and his frock coat. But the black horses sickened, they lay on the floor. The horse doctor came round with his potions galore. He said, no more hearse driving for a fortnight or more, in yes sombre black hat and yes frock coat. But the squire has just died, oh it couldn't be worse, I haven't a horse to handle the hearse. Then he scratched at his head and he muttered a curse. In his sombre black hat and his frock coat, in his sombre black hat and his frock coat, in his sombre black hat and his frock coat, and he scratched at his head and he muttered a curse. In his sombre black hat and his frock coat. He said these two horses, the grey and the brown, they were bought and maintained for the good of the town. They do nothing all day except wander around and go down to the sea for the lifeboat. Well, the grey and the brown didn't quite look the part in the nodding black plumes of the old dead man's cart. But they started off strongly and the proud man took heart. In his sombre black hat and his frock coat, in his sombre black hat and his frock coat, in his sombre black hat and his frock coat, they started off strongly and the proud man took heart. In his sombre black hat and his frock coat. 'Twas a stormy old day, but they pulled with a will on Squire's last trip to the top of the hill, till a signal rang out from the coast guard so shrill, come down to the sea for the lifeboat. Well, the horses they faltered, and then they stood still. Then they turned round and walked back down the hill, though the proud man he hollowed and hauled with a will. They went down to the sea for the lifeboat. They hauled that old hearse right out into the bay. The mourners stood watching in shock and dismay as the squire's remains drifted out and away, going right out to sea like a lifeboat. From that day to this, the brown and the grey have had nothing to do but to eat grass all day, till the signal rings out from the coast guard to say, come down to the sea for the lifeboat, come down to the sea for the lifeboat, come down to the sea for the lifeboat, till the signal rings out from the coast guard to say, come down to the sea for the lifeboat.